welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. I also hope that you've had the opportunity to look at my last video on the river, where I was trying out a new nymph pattern. Well, I say a new nymph pattern, let's say it's a variant, and you saw it catch fish. So today I'm going to tie that same nymph for you. In the vise I have a size 16 light nymph hook and a 3.3 copper bead, and I'll be tying with 10/0 olive grey thread. So let's just set the bead. Now I know that there are lots of olive hare's ear patterns out there, but I'm hoping this is just a little bit different. And of course you've already seen it catch fish, and if you saw the video, it took 4 fish. In fact, it took 5 because I did lose one, but you only saw 4 on the video. And it proved, therefore, a reasonable success. I'll just trim off the excess. Now the tail is going to be coq de lion, so I'm just going to pull off a few fibres. And tie those in. I don't want a particularly long tail, so I'll pull that back just a little and bind it down to the rear of the hook shank. And trim off the excess. Right, the first part of a little bit different is the rib, and it's going to be olive turkey biot. This is light olive. I'm just going to take off one biot. In fact, I've got 2 there. I thought that was a bit thick. There. And tie that in. Pull that through a little. Trim off the excess. Bind it down. And back down to the rear of the fly. Right, the body is going to be olive hare's ear. So I'll just take some out. And dub it on. It doesn't need to be too thick, the body. Try and keep it tight. And I'm going to leave a little gap behind the bead for the thorax. I'm going to wind on the rib. As you can see, it's quite a contrast, being light olive against the dark olive hare's ear, and tie it off. And trim up the biot. I'm just going to brush that out just a little bit. Like so. Right, now the fly has a thorax cover. In fact, it has 2 thorax covers. Now the first one is going to be some pearl mylar. So I will tie that in. Tie it in on top and trim off the excess. And the second part will be a CDC feather. So I'm just going to tie that in. Also on top, a couple of wraps, and pull it through. You don't want it much longer than the length of the fly. That should do. Bind it down and trim off the excess. Right, I'm going to add some more hairs here to create the thorax. That hasn't dubbed particularly well, so start again. Just get rid of that excess. I'm going to pull over the CDC. Give it a couple of wraps just to keep it in place. And then I'm going to take out the center stem. When I can find it. There we go. Right. And then I'm going to separate that more or less in two. Just pull them back. And pull over the mylar. Trim up the excess. Oops. And just finish off with a little bit of hairs here behind the bead. Like so. And before I tie it off, I'm going to put on just a little bit of glue to the thread. And tie off the fly. Right, now I'm going to brush it out, including the CDC. It will do it no harm. And I'm going to get rid of some of these excessively long fibres. And there you have the finished fly. Fairly simple tying, as I said, but the little bit of flash gives it that extra invitation, and of course the rib is that little bit of something different. I hope you enjoyed the tying. If you want to tie in a larger size, these two are size 16, the same as I've just tied, and that is a size 14. You can tie it bigger, you can tie it smaller. I'm sure in an 18 it will do as a dry dropper nymph, but it's proved its success, and I hope it catches a few fish for you too. Thanks for viewing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.